Find the quotient. First thing we know is that we cannot divide fractions. We need to keep it. So we keep our first fraction. We switch it, which means we switch that to multiplication. Keep our first fraction. Switch to multiplication. And flip our second fraction. When we flip, that means we write the reciprocal. I will give you a second to flip or write the reciprocal of 1/7. The reciprocal of 1/7 is 7/1. Now we can go ahead and multiply straight across. I will give you a few seconds to multiply straight across. You should be able to do this on your own. When you multiply straight across, you are going to get an improper fraction. Improper fraction means your top number is bigger than your bottom number. You will have to do long division to get your mixed number. Remember, your denominator always stays the same. Don't forget, you might have to simplify. When you simplify, your whole number will stay the same. A teacher can grade 8 math tests in 10 minutes. What is the teacher's unit rate in minutes? Unit means 1. So we need to find out how many tests she can grade in 1 minute. So we are doing math tests per minute. And we have 8 tests in 10 minutes. We need to find out the unit rate, which is 1 minute. So we are going from a 10 to a 1. We are getting smaller, so that means we are dividing. To go from a 10 to a 1, we are dividing by 10. We need to divide by 10 on the top. We are going to get a decimal, but whatever we get up here is how many math tests she will grade in 1 minute. You are going to answer this without units. So you are only going to put in your answer. Write an equivalent expression for 8 quantity 3x plus 2. 8 quantity 3x plus 2. Equivalent means an expression that means the same or equal. Equal. We see that word is kind of in equivalent. In order to find an equivalent expression, we need to do the distributive property, where we distribute the 8 to both our term 3x and our term 2. In order to do that, we are multiplying. When a number is outside of a parenthesis, that means to multiply. The first thing we need to do is 8 times 3x. That will be our first term. I will give you a moment to go ahead and solve 8 times 3x. We keep our addition sign because that's the sign that was given. And then we need to solve our next distributive problem, which would be 8 times 2. On the other side of our addition sign would be 8 times 2. Go ahead and solve that, and then mark the expression that is equivalent to 8 quantity 3x plus 2. Which number line represents the inequality y is less than or equal to 20? Y is less than or equal to 20. You first need to remember what kind of circle represents less than or equal to. Is it opened or is it closed? We have that equal sign. So what kind of circle does that represent? The next thing that you need to know is y is less than or equal to. That means y can equal 20 and y is also smaller than 20. So which way would our line go if y is smaller than 20? Andrea's backyard is 400 square feet. 400 square feet. Her rectangular, right there's a very big keyword, swimming pool is 10 feet long and 6 feet wide. What is the area of Andrea's backyard, not including the swimming pool? Answer without units. So her entire backyard is 400 square feet. We know that off the bat. The backyard is 400 square feet, so feet squared. Now we need to find what is the area of the pool. Pool equals area equals base times height. They give us our base, which this can also be base, and this can also be height. I will give you a moment to find the area of the pool. The question asks, what is the area of Andrea's backyard, which we already know is right here, 400 feet squared, not including the swimming pool. So if it's not including the swimming pool, that means we need to subtract the swimming pool. So we are going to take her total backyard, which they gave us is 400, and we need to subtract the area of the swimming pool. This will give us the area minus the swimming pool. And we need to answer without units. So you're only going to give me the number you get right here. Aiden received these 2 presents for his birthday. Which has a greater volume? For both of these, we are finding volume. We will find the volume of figure number 1. volume equals base times width times height. You can go ahead and fill in your base times your width times your height. For this particular figure, you need to convert your base to a fraction, your width to a fraction, and your height to a fraction. Remember, to do your height, you're doing 2 times 3 plus 1. That will give you your new numerator. Your denominator always stays the same. I will let you figure out your numerator. Now you can go ahead and rewrite your base times width times height in fraction form. And multiply straight across. Remember, if you get an improper fraction, you will need to do long division to get the correct answer. That is just step 1 to finding the volume. Next, we need to find the volume of the cube. Volume equals base times width times height. This is a cube. They only give us one measurement here. So that's the measurement you're putting in for your base times your width and times your height. They are all the same. It is a cube. They all have the same measure. After you insert that number, you are just going to multiply straight across. Finally, you are going to compare this volume with this volume to find the greater or bigger volume. Whichever one is bigger is the one you are going to mark. Number 1 is the rectangular prism. Number 2 is the cube. Check whichever one is greater. Find the surface area. This is like a tent. We did one very similar to this on our test on Friday. The very first thing we are going to do is find the area of the side of our tent. This is a rectangular or a rectangle. We are going to find the area of the base times our height. We can easily see our base, but we are unsure of our height. We are unsure of our height here. One thing we need to know about this triangle is called an equilateral triangle. And what that means is that all the sides of this triangle are equal. So this and this and this all have the same measure. So that will give you the height of rectangle 1. I will give you a second to find that area. Now that you've found that area, there are 2 sides to the tent. So you need to multiply by 2 to get your total area. Step 2, we are going to find the area of the front of the tent, which is a triangle. An area of a triangle equals our base times our height divided by 2. We can see our base, and this dotted line is our height. Then you have to divide that by 2 because a triangle is half of a rectangle. I will give you a minute to find the area of the front of the tent. This tent also has a back. So after we find the area of the front, we need to realize there's also a back. So we have to then multiply that by 2 to get our total area of the front and the back. I'll give you a second to do that. Step 3, there is a bottom to our tent. You need to find the area of the bottom of our tent. The shape of the bottom also makes a rectangle. And we know that the area of a rectangle is our base times our height. Our base is given, could be here or here, and our height. I will give you a moment to find the bottom rectangle area. There is only one rectangle on the bottom. If you notice, this is a triangle and it comes to a point. So there's not a rectangle on the top. There is only one rectangle on the bottom. Therefore, you do not have to multiply this area by 2. Your final step to find surface area is to add your area of the 2 sides plus your area of the 2 triangles plus the area of your bottom rectangle. That will give you your total surface area. It also tells you to answer without units. That means do not put inches or inches squared, just write the number. Find the mode. As we learned from our lesson today, a synonym for mode would be most. The way I always remember this is mode has M-O in it, and most has M-O. They're both four-letter words, and mode, most sound very similar together. So we need to find which number. Now we can only use the ones that have X's on them. That means these are the ones that are plotted. This one doesn't count, 7 doesn't count, and 8 doesn't count because we did not have any data for those numbers. The only numbers we have data for are 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 6, 6, 6, and 9. That is how you read this plot chart. So which number has the most X's? That would be the mode of this plot diagram. Whichever number has the most X's is your mode. Find the range. Today our lesson also taught us about range. Our range is a span of area. Our range is a span of area. Range always tells us the biggest minus the smallest. That gives us our range or span of area. So once again, our data consists of 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. There isn't any 5 in our data. 6, 6, 6. There isn't any 7. There isn't any 8. And there isn't any 9. So our smallest is a 3. And our biggest is a 9. So we take our biggest number, and our biggest number is a 9, minus our smallest number. And our smallest number is a 3. When we subtract those, that will equal our range. That is the number you will write as your answer.